afternoon. This is Gill Tiney and Erkan Ali and guests at our podcast, The Journey of Possibility. Today is the 11th of April and we've been spending the morning here today having an accomplice meeting. Every quarter roughly we get together as guys looking at our big collaboration meetings, how we can improve them, what we can do to up the ante for ourselves and for each other, and looking at what's missing possibly in the meetings, what's missing within the community, what we can do to improve things, and how we can actually support each other in that journey along the way. So I'd like to introduce three of our accomplices now. We have Andrew Horder, Scott Campbell, who you've probably seen before, and Dave Cordle. We've come all the way from sunny Surrey and sunny Essex to join us today. Obviously,
sunny Hartford.
Yeah, sunny Hartford. It's come a long way, all of 2 minutes up the road. So I thought we'd just take this opportunity for Andrew, Scott and Dave to say hello, explain what they're doing here and what they've found so far about today's session. We've been here all morning, haven't we? What have you thought, Andrew? What have you got out today so far?
Do you want to know who I am first?
Yes.
So, I'm Andrew Horder, I'm the founder of Joyful Genius Coaching, and basically I help people to find their genius and then take it out in the world and get properly paid for it. What have I found out so far today? There's been a whole lot of stuff going on around how I'm showing up as an accomplice, as the leader of a group or co-leader of a group, and how maybe I just need to step up a couple of gears to really make BeCollaboration all I know it can be. That's kind of where I'm at. So far from this morning, we've done a lot of exploration this morning.
Gears aside, I mean, what do you think gets in the way when we want to do something really worthwhile, something we're passionate about? What have you noticed gets in the way for you?
The big stuff that gets in the way is life. It's obviously got business outside of BeCollaboration, so there's time pressures on that. But there's also this sort of, I know how great it can be, and I get frustrated that it's not going as fast as I want it to in the south of London. So that does affects my motivation quite a lot.
Yeah.
And as an individual, I am motivated by achieving stuff. So when I'm not achieving as fast as I want,
it's your mojo goes.
It does. It becomes a challenge rather than fun.
Yeah, and you're probably a bit like me in that you kind of want it all to happen yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, and it's this frustrating that there's nothing stopping you. And I was saying to my husband the other day that if in an ideal world, if all I had to do was BeCollaboration, I'd be happy as Larry. If that's all I was focusing on was to build the community, then what a wonderful world that would be. And then you've got to go and do the day job, and you've got to do the other stuff as well, And then if you've got kids or you've got other commitments that are in your life, it's really hard. So on the one hand, it's like, yes, I really want to do this. On the other hand, it's like, I've got to go and do that first, and I'll come back to that, because actually that's the fun bit over here, but I've got to go and do the other stuff first.
So. And the other thing is, there's loads of people going, oh, I really like the sound of that. There's even been some people who've been and go, I really like it, and not now. And, or yes, I'll definitely come, and then they don't.
Yes.
And so you're expecting.
I thought this whole show for you.
Yeah.
You've not even come back for the second time.
You're looking to forward to a dozen and a half people, 2 dozen people turning up, and you find you've got 10.
Especially when you know some of them people that say that, and you think they'd be really good for the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they don't show up, and you feel like almost disappointed in yourself that you haven't kind of force them to come, even though you don't want to force them to come, but you get people, I'll definitely be there, I'll try and get along. And
well, you were the classic, weren't you, in that? Because it was one of the collaborators who were inviting you along, and I'll come next month, I'll come next month, and then by the time you did 4 months, So we have to be persistent, don't we, to keep inviting people, otherwise you miss out on the likes of...
For the
easy catch then.
For the benefit of our audience, I mean, there's loads of things we want to achieve in life, and there's always things that get in the way. I think the thing is noticing what those things are, how familiar they are to you personally, and then there's the generic ones. Time, money. I'm very. Who out there is busy? I mean, how many people you meet now? Everybody's busy. Everybody's so busy, and are we busy doing things that we really value, or are we busy doing what we need to do to survive? Is there some way we could be more effective, more productive?
I think it comes down to what we ask ourselves, and if you're asking yourself, is what I'm doing fun? Is what I'm doing enjoyable, and I'm going to put in joy into everything I'm being in doing that. The prioritisation, even though I can't say it, is actually that's becomes easy, doesn't it? Because actually you stop doing the stuff that is rubbish, and even the stuff that you've got to do because you've got to earn money, you start questioning that and saying, okay, so what can I do to earn mony? That's fun.
That's fun as well.
It's got more joy in it.
We didn't discuss it today actually, but I think one of the things is not sharing it with enough people for me, but one of the things is that because I love it so much, and obviously biased because we're in it and we're like in it both feet and everything and all in. But if someone comes along and they didn't like it, they didn't get it straight off. It's almost a bit like, it's like calling your baby ugly, It's a bit like that, so there's a little bit of that.
Nathan, but before we get into that, I mean, George was saying, I know you were in the last podcast, but what's your name?
Yeah, so this is good. I said that the first guest in podcast 3 and the first guest to return in podcast 4. So it says Scott Campbell, CEO and founder of GIEmarketing.com, amongst many other business interests, and host of the Essex Group.
Yeah. And what did you get from today? What opened up? I mean, do you think we went... Because getting uncomfortable does get uncomfortable, but then we don't get uncomfortable, we don't go beyond our current limit. So do you feel we got uncomfortable enough today, or do you think we kind of had a little bit of a conspiracy where we all kind of kept it, well, I won't call you out with your stuff. I think we didn't go as far as we could have done.
No, I think on that last exercise we went...
Do you think we went...
Yeah, we probably could have gone even more for the joke there, especially yours, but...
I think we got... I mean, what we said was, who do we need to be?
Yeah.
And that is the bottom line.
Well, that's the bottom line for all businesses, isn't it?
For everybody.
Everything you want to achieve in life, who do you need to be to achieve it?
Yeah.
I think this is... this is not our businesses, so this is, it's not business because it's a movement and a non-for-profit organisation, or will be, but it's a big time commitment to take a whole day out and juggle that in, as well as it's not just coming here, we do the groups, we come to other groups, and that part of it, but I do feel we get an incredible amount of value from these days, and I think if you could take what we do as accomplices of the group leaders and what we've done, and maybe transfer that to other bits of collaboration within the community, I think it would be bigger. People out there saying, "Well, I wish it, I love being part of it, but I wish it was bigger, better." Well, actually, the call out is to them to actually do something, because we put our time where our mouth is, if you like, and the money, because it costs to come here, to travel in and stuff like that, and. Someone's got to bring their own lunch.
Do you think? Do you think that some of the stuff that you've learned here today, that you kind of, the value that you can take from it, that is a transferable skill? That
No,
you're
absolutely. I think so. Yeah, and it's also this. We don't just. We're not just talking. What I like about these meetings we have when we're here, it's kind of an open forum in such of we can call each other out. We can be really honest in the environment, and what it does lend into, which I really like, it's not just talking about the groups and we're going to do this in the groups and we're going to do that. We actually talk kind of like the strategic version of the whole BeCollaboration as well. So we kind of feel, well, for me, I feel like, like a big part of an overview of the whole BeCollaboration, shaping the whole BeCollaboration, because we're the ones out there taking it out to the public, if you like, from this room. So,
I was just linking to what you two have been saying.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Dave?
Yeah, right. I'm Dave Cordle. I co-host the Surrey meeting with Andrew. By profession, I'm a career development professional. I help people to get jobs they love and get paid well for them. But it goes beyond that. It's about helping people to create the lives they want through getting the basic skills to create jobs. And if you want to, my passion is about getting those skills into the hands, particularly of young people, but into the hands of everybody, because we're not taught them. Something we talk a lot about at BeCollaboration is the archaicness, if you like, of the education system, the money system, all of those systems, and actually there's a simple set of skills we can give to people. So that's sort of where I'm coming from, and that's why I'm here, because every time I come to this day or to a BeCollaboration meeting or in a conversation with someone else who's part of this community, I grow as an individual. And that doesn't make me a better collaborator only, it makes me better in every aspect of what I do out there. And that's why I'm so passionate about making this available to other people.
Yeah, definitely. And what I love is when we do get in this environment, whether it be with you guys as accomplices or group hosts, or whether it's the comms team or the quest team or whoever it is, everyone is informing and sharing and supporting the growth of BeCollaboration, whether it's in strategic marketing, whether it's in how do we grow the groups, whether it's in who can we help, who can we support, the journal, the book, whatever it happens to be. These conversations that we've had today are going to be something that's, didn't see it like that. I mean, that exercise that you introduced earlier, that can be done a million times over. Absolutely fantastic. So I don't know if you wanted to share that with what we've been doing today.
Yeah, that's an exercise, I picked it up for literally over the last couple of days from Peter Thompson, called, I think it's called Yesterday's Road, and it's about the stuff that you should have done in order to get to some point in the future. Taking yourself into the future and then thinking about what do you wish you'd done, and then taking yourself into the future as if you had achieved it, and asking yourself, so what did I do to make this happen? You look on Peter Thompson's website and
I think the premise for that was look at something you're working really hard on and imagine in 6 months' time it's no longer there.
Yeah,
you failed.
You failed.
What could you have done?
I mean, that's part, because when the first part of the exercise, we really kind of got real with what that feeling was.
Yeah.
You know. And
that's an important part of the exercise, is actually feeling what you would feel if the project that you really want to make a go of doesn't succeed.
But it brought some real meaning and some real...
Did you feel it though, when we all went, you said the question and we all kind of went,
I felt gutted. I felt really gutted. I felt like...
But that's key to it, and actually that's key to pretty much anything, is really feeling, getting the sensations of being in that situation, because that's what's going to give you the energy, the impetus to do something about it.
Yeah, because you'll go through this, don't you, with any project, and hopefully you're doing it like that, but sometimes you're just jogging along and you get used to having the same old feeling, where that that's just had an opportunity of just going, oh, hang on a minute, let's wake up a bit, this is serious now, and let's crank it on to the...
But then you turn it around the other way
and
go to, right, so we've achieved this, and it's brilliant, now what did you do to make that happen? So going at it from both sides, it makes that exercise really powerful.
But it was interesting, a number of times I brought up, and I think we all kind of agreed, that the status of an organisation may be fundamental to what can be achieved in line with its context. Like what we think of as BeCollaboration has been a limited company up until now. Just the thought of really getting this status sorted, like maybe there's something that you're working on where the status is fundamentally not kind of fit for purpose. And I don't think BeCollaboration's status is fit for purpose. We've been feeling it for a long time, but it doesn't, the business format doesn't really...
Well, Charles, we talk about it being a movement,
but
then it's set up as a business.
But it's set up as a limited company, and
so that doesn't quite gel, does it?
No.
But I think 4 years ago when it was set up, we were like, let's just do something,
let's
anything, that'll do, and let's get on. And it was action. And when you look back, if in our real world, the world that we would like to create, we wouldn't even have an entity or a piece of paper to sign, or shares here or shares there. It would just be getting on and collaborating. But in the world we live in, you need to kind of have some of that stuff put together. So over the last 2-3 years, we've kind of realised that the limited company just is clunky. It just doesn't really work, does it? So that's why to review it. And it's interesting how many other people aren't aware of what other options are out there. I mean, you said, didn't you, cooperative. Somebody else said confederation, somebody else said, oh, you're fine as you are.
I mean, most people only really know about limited company, partnership, or perhaps they might know about CIC, community interest company, but there's loads more beyond that.
And how do you choose without strapping yourself up into something that can actually strangle you, I suppose, in the long run? So if you out there know anything, if you're a specialist, then...
But what I was going to say was, any entity, whether that's an individual person, whether it's a business or whether it's a movement, is going to change. And we've seen that with BeCollaboration. It's gone from, perhaps it was appropriate for it to be a limited company right at the beginning, through to this stage now where even any of the formal organisation structures might not be, or, you know, legal entity things might not be quite right for it. But at least we know what it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I think that's really important because in this case we talk about legal entity of an organisation, but it could be anything that's fundamentally kind of agreed without any review. So to stop things and go, right, is this still currently working in the way that we've got it?
Yeah.
Is there anything we could do to take it to another level? And that could include the kind of people you've got in your team, the outside organisations you engage with.
Yeah.
So the whole thing to just stop and go review and then get that clarity, or look at, are we still...
And actually, even down to an individual level, as an individual,
Well,
who have I declared myself to be, and is that still valid?
Yeah.
Is that still who I intend to show up?
I mean, that's with everything here, parts. You know, it's whatever business you're in, or even from a personal level.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the same person I was when I was a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, still I live. And
That's the result.
yeah, yeah, and
All that time ago.
yeah, 25 years ago. But you know, you evolve, you change. You know, your things that are important to you now weren't important to you. You know, as you do get older, you think of things. You know, like when you're younger, you don't think of things like, you know, like house insurance, pensions and stuff like that. When you get to our age, they say, you start thinking about, well, we better make sure we've got the pension in place. You know, so things evolve and things need changing. I mean, it's actually quite a simplistic point that actually it needs to change. It needs to change now, because I think it shows that we've evolved actually to something that.
I think the difference is though that what we're doing is evolving that being consciously rather than letting it happen to us.
Absolutely.
That's the difference. Is about creating the being we choose to create.
And if we hadn't evolved to the point where we are absolutely 100% sure, not just like you and Gill, but everyone now within the inner circle and all the communities that come into it now, that it's around it being a movement rather than just being a money maker for Erkan and Gill. The fact that
Not that it was ever that.
no. But the fact that it's brought to the fore where you really feel sorry now, you've got to change it to be able to go to the next step.
Yeah.
I think
shows you where the group has evolved into.
I think on an energistic level, and I think on just a foundational level, if something isn't quite, I mean, I work quite closely with business owners and their teams in terms of getting the context for their business, you know, nailed, and you shift that, everything shifts. The kind of clients that will come your way, the partners that will get involved, staff, you know, team members you interact, all the whole thing. But I want to go back to something else. I mean, this idea of things are changing. Yeah, even the last 3-4 years, how much has technology advanced?
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just even that we're changing because we're going through life's, you know, barriers or whatever you want to call it, but also around us, the world has changed at exponential.
It's not just technological, is it?
No.
You know, societies are changing, politics are
People
changing
change
so
because
fast all the time.
People, you think if you at your age now,
Yeah.
I think of your parents at your age, you're a lot younger than what they were at your age. Makes sense. And they're a lot younger.
You mean I've got a lot longer to go?
No, you think how you acted. You think
Perceived
about your parents at, like my parents are my age.
You call me a kid.
Yeah. I think my parents at my age would have been slippers, you know, in front of the TV and all that, you know. But now,
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
you know, so you look at my age, they're still, you know, wearing PlayStation t-shirts and mobile phones and, you know, and all this sort of stuff. We're a lot younger, and society's getting younger, and our parents now, you know, grandparents, if you look at Facebook, their biggest growth has been in that kind of 60 plus age group, you know. Of
But you also got to think that people are living longer. So, you know, we are actually, relatively speaking, younger than our parents were at our age.
Yeah.
Because we've got more of our life to go.
Hurrah.
Indeed. Well, I have no intention of ever being it.
So what were the main learnings for you personally, individually today?
I've got to show up. You know, I've been allowing the frustrations to stop me showing up as not only who I want to be, but who I can be.
Yeah.
In the context of BeCollaboration, but also in context in other areas of my life. So it's with everything, you know, you come to talk about one thing, you kind of learn stuff about all things.
It's funny, isn't it? We kind of know this shit, don't we? It's like, and in the world that we inhabit, we tell our clients and all these different things. But then when it's kind of like somebody says, "So what do you think?" and what being are you going to be today? It's like,
oh yeah.
And then you realise that the mirror's looking at you,
Yeah.
and you've got to take that step. And it's really useful. I don't know about you, but I find it really useful just to have this precious time that we have. One, to kind of reinforce where we're at with each other with BeCollaboration, but also it gives you time to reflect on yourself and your own being and where you're at, and have I got it in me to go up to the next level? And it's like, well, if Andrew says he hasn't, Scott has, how dare I not? I kind of have to step into that space. So that's why I love it when you guys, we all hang out like this, because it's a fantastic fun day, but it's just that opportunity to learn off of each other.
I think it's very brave of us all. Each one of us is stepping into a room with 4 other coaches.
Yeah, never help us. Yeah,
and all of us business owners in our own rights. Which normally, you put 5 business owners in a room, you're not going to get an agreement or anything, normally. Because just by the fact you're a business owner, you're going to be opinionated and your own opinions, and strong to the fact. Getting 5 business owners so committed to the same thing.
But isn't that kind of venturing into the art of collaboration? Is actually, I think one of the things that what came out was what we shared about what it takes to what we're providing in the meetings that really adds value is this permission to contribute and listen and give and take.
I think we're more aware of the name on the tin now. I think more than a year ago, or even when we had our last one last year.
Both aspects of it.
Yeah, I think
the collaboration, but more importantly, I think the be.
Absolutely.
And who are we?
Well, that's what come out of the
key phrase is the one Scott brought in right at the beginning, which is about creating a space for transformational breakthrough.
Yeah.
And I think that's the space that we've got, where people can turn up with permission for that to happen, and with permission for all of us, not just the people in the room, but the leaders of the groups as well as the hosts of the meeting, to be in a space where we can all be prodded and challenged and grow. But it's all in a space where we're coming from collaboration and love and
that's the important bit, that it's coming from a place of love.
Okay, I've got a question. The genius slot, we talked a lot about that today.
We did.
Right, so the genius slot came about, do you want to explain the genius slot?
No, you can carry on.
So the genius slot was where...
You're putting right.
I'll share
what he thinks it is.
I'll share and then Jill will tell me what I mean.
Erkan show, wasn't it?
It's become a bit... Well, the early days, the meetings were, from introduction to the end, was 4 hours of me. On the whole, at the front of the room, and then slowly.
It was 3 hours of you, and then we added the introduction.
Oh yeah. So it became that, and then slowly, because of the Be Inspired Discover Your Genius program, that became something that we started to talk about. This notion of that genius lubricates collaboration, or allows it to. Because if you operate from that sense of your own genius, your own purpose, abundant, then you're far more generous with it. You can contribute. You're not so guarded of it. And then the genius slot became kind of a slot where we could share our latest thinking. It could be a bit more experimental, it could be more woo-woo, more cutting edge, and it's kind of, we were talking about what could we do to lift that up another notch or two, and just wondering what your thoughts are about that.
It morphed into one other thing, hadn't it? It kind of changed slightly. We were trying to work out whether it's going in the right direction.
To be honest, there's a big part of it it's a scary part, because we've said about what we want it to be and be there. And how do we pick subject to live up to it? Is a big responsibility. But then there's also the scary part about, actually, we don't know what's going to happen in the room. So that's going to be a test of our leadership in a different way. Because we haven't seen a fight yet, but we might touch a subject where it gets very,
contentious,
and that's going to be. And I think we had it, not mention names, but I think we had it in. You asked me to do a slot in Hartford. Was it just the value slot or something like that?
Yeah.
And the word Trump come up and it all kicked off.
That's right.
And a little bit of, and I'm sitting there thinking it's all going off, and I'm standing there thinking, oh guys, well, it's not really my meeting, it's George's meeting, but this is... someone's going to get the flag. Someone's going to step in here a minute, and it's like, and that was So it was almost like, what did I think, and in the end it was just, I think I just put, you two go and have a fight at the bar, so then take on after the bar, we've got to end. I think,
I think that was interesting, but I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah.
Where we kind of trigger emotions that maybe we're not getting expressed, or we don't articulate them. Because sometimes if you just react, then you go, oh, I didn't realise I felt so.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that was so important to me, or I didn't realise I was holding on to something.
Yeah.
But the idea, with the genius, is that we're sharing and engaging each other in more esoteric, less walked paths.
I think that's the key thing that's come out today, is refocusing us on the genius slot is about sharing things that we're not expert on. It's not like I know about this and I'm going to share it with you.
Yeah.
It's about this is what I've been thinking about, this is what I've been exploring.
Let's have a discussion about it.
What do you think?
It's about getting a bit dangerous, and we maybe allowed it to become a little bit safe.
Yeah.
And it's going to go edgy again, folks.
We're working on edgy.
Yeah, so the word interesting. I think there's been controversial, but I think in the space of BeCollaboration, there is a mutual respect. So even if people are at polar opposite opinions to whatever is being discussed, you're right, I'm wrong, I don't think there's going to be that space of mistrust or anger. I think it's just going to be the opinions are voiced, and it will be our jobs at the front of the room to ensure that everybody is heard.
Well, still underlined by values. I think they're still strong within it, and I think
well, respect is one of the values.
Yeah, so respect and human being first.
Picking up on your. I want to be in a room where I think I feel quite angry about that. Why do I feel angry about that? What is it?
And allow it, and it can be there.
Absolutely. Because then we're challenging our thinking, and we're thinking more creatively then.
And also taking it out of the space of debate or opinion, or I agree or disagree, is actually put a subject in the middle that we all feel uncomfortable about, in a way that we can discuss it to learn and unravel, more exploratory, more of a inquiry into what is this area, and someone maybe shaping it slightly or giving it some form, but not like, hey, I've been studying this phenomenon and that's how that works. And you agree or disagree. It's actually, no, this is what I'm learning about, I don't know, whatever it is you might bring to the table. And I think that being able to be in those conversations without giving yourself enough room to kind of allow your reactions, but without being reactive.
Yeah, we're all in there.
Enough
room
to hang yourself, but not actually.
We're all in there, whatever the subject is and whatever comes up. We're all in there as students rather than followers of the things.
What was interesting the other day over in London, I was talking to somebody about how some of the more esoteric subjects come up, and I just threw it in there to see what this accountant made of this reaction. I said, sometimes we even discuss things like aliens. One of our members said they'd had an alien encounter, and I thought he was going to go, that's fascinating, because the other day, and all of a sudden, and it was so funny because
it's funny how you get that in life generally.
Yeah.
I was sat there once with two ex-directors of FTSE 250 companies. One of them is still the chairman of an NHS trust or something like that. And I said to him, I can get quite woo-woo sometimes. Thinking he was going to go.
Yeah.
He just turned around and said, you do know that my wife's a spiritual healer.
It's funny, isn't it? And this is it. You have this stereotype of what people are going to be like.
Don't we? We assume other people rather than accept them as.
We talked about this in the last podcast, isn't it? There is, the top end corporates, the sort of the founders and that sort of people, they are a lot more open to it. There's probably more that middle management and that senior management that needs to. A little bit of coercing into it.
But that's an interesting. I wonder what it is that's holding them back from stepping into their woo-woo.
Yeah. Well, when we talked about it,
the social
podcast
I think there's a lot of it.
A lot of it is they don't get they go on. Unfortunately, a lot of these things is they go on to like retreats and stuff like that. So then the senior management below them think, oh, it's just a fad, they just do a thing, or
is
they're a
this
bit quackers.
Statement, do you think?
It's a little bit, but they don't get the full belief into, which is where we talked about the last one about there's a real opportunity for, taking that transformational space, so we can that breakthrough space, creating that within a company.
This is one of my big hobby horses. Is we're not taking your whole self to work.
No, and I think once we get it right within the communities, then taking it into the companies is a lot more streamlined. We'll have the people within the communities that can do that.
But do you think we've made that journey partly ourselves from being around people who talk that
Yeah,
language and
absolutely,
saying,
yeah.
oh, actually I can talk this language. And isn't that what happens when you go out there and you start talking about things that are from your being and that you're passionate about?
Yeah.
It gives other people permission to do that. And
That's
so
it, it's
you
the
gain-
Marianne Williamson shine
Yeah.
your light and give other people permission to shine
Exactly.
too.
Which is why your FTSE 250 guy
Yeah.
felt comfortable to say, and did you know my wife's
Yeah.
a spiritual healer?
Yeah, true.
Should we Google that? Or should please don't that?
You'll never get it from Google.
So what about one of the things I find quite interesting, it gives me, you know, like a bit of a giggle when I ask people like that, are you open? And then I kind of present them something and they go, that can't be the case. Well, then how open are you? How do you engage with information that just doesn't fit your model?
Yeah.
You know, what you could call cognitive dissonance. You know,
Mhm.
you've got a view about the world, and that's not been the way it is forever, has it? Because knowing you guys, you all read, you're all progressing. So even 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, your views are.
I used to be a right reactionary.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's hard to believe. But what do you think shifted? I mean, like, how do you, like, when you first hear something that really is out your normal understanding, do you kind of go, oh, that's interesting, or do you kind of resist it, or depends on what it is? I don't know.
I think I still have some element of that sort of knee-jerk, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
But then I go, hang on a minute. I can't actually find why it's wrong. It just feels wrong.
Yeah.
So that's that cognitive dissonance thing
yeah,
going on.
Yeah.
The difference is now, I think, particularly, you know, because I've been in this environment,
Yeah.
I'm willing to allow it to possibly be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
understand
not
why
to
this feeling is there.
Yeah.
Because the feeling can be part of your history and your past.
Yeah,
Or the
absolutely.
feeling might be your intuition. No, it's not right.
It's that thing about the water,
Yeah.
you know, with the love-hate, you know, if you told me that 3 years ago,
Oh,
you
come
just
on,
come in,
what an idiot.
yeah, it's stupid, but now it's like I find myself going, do you know what, I can see that. You know,
I remember
so-
being away with someone, we were away for a weekend, someone of our business owner, and he was watching the mainstream news. I said, oh, you're not watching that, are you? He goes, what's wrong with that? And I said, what, Tesco's news? Or something like that, and he got so upset with me, he walked out of the room.
Oh, no.
You know, like, you know, so as soon as we challenge each other on our understanding, if you like, or our framing of the way things work or don't work, I think within BeColl, it's always been a kind of one of our missions to challenge each other on what works and how it could work differently and what options, you know, 'cause as soon as you have an engagement or inquiry in that, you've got some options, whether you engage them or not.
But sometimes it's how you engage people, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, there is that.
I do like shocking.
I know.
There is that.
And what you're not telling us in that little scenario is what other things have built up before that. But he's just gone, that's it, I'm gone. You know.
Yeah,
It
you've
might have
got
just been
yeah,
Straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
yeah, but then there is a bit of glee in that kind of stuff as well.
But that's why I like it. You know, when we keep harking back to this, and when Brexit happened, and we had a genius slot, and Sarah said, "Okay, look, we're all hurting here for one reason or another. Let's have that conversation." I don't know if any of you guys were actually there.
no,
You missed it as well,
no,
didn't you? I was there on my own, obviously. Nobody else was
Did
there.
this actually happen?
It did actually happen.
You sure we just put you in a room? After a couple of gins.
But she handled it so well. But the conversation was respectful.
Yeah.
So there were people that were licking their wounds from both sides, and there was anger in the room, but they still held it together enough to be respectful of the other person's opinion in order to try and share why they voted the way they voted and where it came from. And we agreed to disagree at the end. You know, that's the way it's going to go. But everyone was kind of like, oh, okay, I hadn't quite thought of it that way.
Do you think adults
Yeah.
struggle to engage with?
Yes, because when you're after 21, sorry to interrupt, when you're over 21, you're supposed to know everything, aren't you? Isn't there this feeling
I
of
don't
like...
think just that you're supposed to know everything. I think within our education there's a right answer.
Yeah, but I think there's also the whole consistency piece going on,
Yeah.
where we are supposed to adopt a position and remain consistent with
Yeah.
it, and we're not allowed to change our minds.
Yeah.
You know, how many times have you seen something that a politician has said 10 years ago getting used to,
Vilify them.
vilify what they're saying now? You know, in fact, for me,
It's
if a
taken out.
politician hasn't changed their views in 10 years,
Something wrong.
It's,
there's something not quite right there. Now, should they be changing it to a diametric opposite of what they said 10 years ago? Maybe not.
I think politicians should have said, they go, we should not invade this country.
No, they always do that.
3 years later, we should invade this country.
Yeah.
You kind of go, hold on a minute. I think that's.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Bringing it back to us. What 15 years ago when I was a reactionary, I would be horrified by the things I say now. And frankly,
We are
right now, I would be horrified by the things I used to say 15 years ago. Yeah, I've changed.
Yeah.
I'm inconsistent
Yeah.
with
As are
the
most
person,
human beings,
with
yeah.
the being I was.
The difference is you take
15 years ago.
responsibility
Yeah,
for it and
absolutely.
said, I'm allowed to change my mind,
Yeah.
rather than,
I have to change their mind.
or I'm not allowed to change my mind, which is someone else's. We're not allowed to change our mind. Well, I am allowed to change my
I
mind.
said that, so therefore I've got to behave that way.
And I'll own it.
Why?
I'll make, to use a word you were using, I'll make a stand for it and say, you know what, my thinking's different because I'm in a different place now. I know new things.
Yeah.
And in 6 months' time, you might be saying something else.
So,
But this is you realise just my way of making sure I can never get called on anything.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all film now, you're okay. You know, yeah.
I've made Star Trek and Star Wars alone. So.
What? Huh? Sorry?
It's supposed to.
Where did we go? I feel like we just got off a tangent. May the force be with you.
You think about it, because we're brought up this generation where it's Star Trek first of all and then Star Wars, right? So we're kind of a generation of scientific kids, and the nerds have been brought out of our generation, and the geeks, the comic squad, and all that sort of stuff. So because we were all brought up that scientific, it's like the science. It was like a matter of fact, it had to prove something. So when I was in that mindset for a long time, it had to be so fundamentally proved to me for me to want to accept that that's right.
Yeah.
Full on empiricism.
That limited me so much.
Yeah.
So when I got out of that, when stopped watching Star Trek and gave my little toys away. But anyway, that's the I was in the loft the other day. 2 of them are still in there.
Yeah.
eBay.
Worth a fortune.
Jean-Luc Picard staying with me to death. Anyway, but it's I had to get out of there. I think from that, I had to get away from that thinking. Now that was limited me, so I needed something to be completely proved.
Yeah.
Whereas now is.
Well, there's expressions that
Oh,
stay
that's
fluid.
interesting.
It's like it's be open to any possibility. And I think you're arrogant if you're like, I'm right, you're wrong. There's an arrogance about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's driven by ego half the time, isn't it? There's a lot of people
It's actually driven by fear.
So I have a question. One fundamental shift that's happened in the last, say, 5 years that's really put you in a different space in your life, in your business. It doesn't have to be correlated, but if it is, that's
I was going to say BeCollaboration.
That's the right answer.
In the last 5 years.
Yeah, or just like relatively recent, as opposed to
For me, it's living in the question.
just having that ability to be in and out of a dialogue.
Well, it's staying in the question and not looking for answers. Because I've realised that when you find the answer, that's a massive limitation. Because then, if it is the answer, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
Then you're invested in it after.
Back to that consistency piece. If you're living in the question, what's going to be the most effective thing for me to do now? What's most going to serve me today? Well, great. I don't have to find the answer. I just have to be constantly looking for what will serve me, and then do that. It might not serve me in 5 minutes' time, but right now it serves me.
Yeah.
So living in the question is the big thing that's changed for me in the last 5 years.
My biggest one, 5 years is quite timely, because about almost sort of kind of 5 years for me hitting rock bottom. But it was a bit of a, when I was younger, I kind of think like by 40 I'll be retiring on 40, I'm going to retire when I'm 35, that sort of, you've got sure. And it's funny sort of hitting rock bottom, it does sound to you where, well for me, it said to me, I was thinking, well look, I've been told I'm supposed to do it this way and do that and do this and do that, and this is, build up your career and all that. But fuck, that's all that's got to me is to this point, and so something's not right. So it allowed me to question everything that had gone on before. It's interesting you talk about questions. It allowed me to question that. Why am I doing that? And actually now I can choose. That I put it back that question. About your you can, the one that really stuck with me about, you know, you can choose your friends but you can't choose your family. I was like, why not? Why can't I? You know, at the end of the day, my wife I chose.
Yeah.
You know, that's, so my kids I've chosen through my wife. So that is my family that I've chosen.
Yeah.
And it started a whole chain of events then, which, you know, is still on that journey, and not going to forever be on that journey, because I think the more you open yourself up to it, the more you're going to be on a.
And I assume by doing that, and going back to what you said, Andrew, is like it makes you more valuable to more value. I don't mean value in more monetary terms, but you're kind of, I don't know, if you're a coach and you're committed to making a difference to people, being open yourself must, you know, if you're going to be leading marketing conversations and having that in the background is supporting your mission, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day.
And it's changed everything. It's changed it changes how I look at strategies, you know, with things. It's the reason why GIE is called GIE, because it's Give, Influence, Engage. It's changed everything about that. It's changed who I work with, who I decide to work with, who I have difficult conversations with that I don't want to work with anymore. It's changed that whole thing.
Anyone you want to mention right now?
No, not really.
Well, yeah, it's made me a much better coach.
Yeah.
Because if I thought there was an answer, I'd just be pushing that answer.
There's a lot of coaches out there.
There are a lot.
Not just coaches, but also
for some clients, they want an answer. That's what they need, because that's where they're at. I like to work with the ones who are open to things being a little bit more fluid.
Because the thing is,
if you sort of tell me what to do and tell me now.
The minute you give them that, answer, and then and obviously it doesn't work, so therefore you're wrong. So hang on a minute.
Maybe it would work.
Well, if they're not invested,
but
if they're invested in it, if they're not invested in it, it probably won't work. And I think that's my biggest thing over the last 5 years is right and wrong. What's right and wrong? There is no right and wrong. You know, so it's working out your life as a result of, you know, I'm not right all the time. I thought I was. Apparently I'm not.
Really?
Who knew? So,
who dare tell you?
I'm a damaged man. Dave, what about you? What's been sort of key learnings or?
Last 5 years.
I
I think. Actually, when I started coaching, I think the thing that very quickly I started developing, I developed the who before the being, I think, because the model I developed was the who model, which I use in my coaching. But actually the being bit grew, and I think that's something that's still growing for me. So BeCollaboration was a big step on that journey of being, because suddenly it was like, I can actually be around people and be part of and be an equal part of people that I thought, wow, they were like always up there. But I think the other thing alongside that for me, the real thing, is enjoyment and enjoying everything. And I go around most of the day with a smile on my face. I'm the guy walking down the road with a smile on my face. It's not because I'm. No, maybe it is because I'm mad.
And it's not wind.
It might be, but because I'm enjoying myself, and it's you talk about living in the question. I hadn't sort of thought of it like that, but that's the question I'm having: is if I haven't got a smile on my face, what do I need to do to be enjoying this moment? Because there is always something you can enjoy about this moment. And if you talk about like Eckhart Tolle and the power of now and concepts like that, if you are right here, right now, in the moment, you cannot but be joyful. That's my experience. I'm not saying that.
And what takes you out at the moment? I mean, I imagine there's things that even Dave Cordle is triggered.
My mind is always everywhere. You notice I'm daydreaming. But there's always things, and it's I suppose part of that that big difference is, if I look back certainly 10 or 15 years, probably a lot less than that if I'm really honest, and probably maybe 5 minutes ago I was living in the past or the future or the and for me it's constantly reminding yourself, am I living in the past here? Because you can well, I don't know, I can very easily think about something in the past or create an imaginary sort of scenario in the future, and I can get worked up and angry about it. And does that help me? Well, of course it doesn't, because it's either something that's gone or something that probably won't ever happen. And as soon as you think about that, then you're back here in the now.
I think actually it's still, a lot of people, I think this is a bit when you think of my old days, if you like, that's all woo-woo and stuff like that, and life still happens, you still got to get angry. it's that acceptance. You still get angry, still things annoy you, life still happens, but actually how you react quickly to it, to go back into the state that we're at.
It's whether you use it as a trigger and you recognise you've got a choice of how to respond, and that's the thing about when the only moment we can influence anything is right now, because there is that the past's gone, the future's yet to come, isn't it?
I was in the car with I think it was Tyler, and I went. She looked at me. I goes, "That moment's gone. That moment's gone. That moment's gone. That moment's gone." And she's like that every time I do that. I went, "That moment's gone. Everything's a memory, Tyler."
What an irritating old man.
This is why you've got that's why I never take you out anyway.
It was kind of an epiphany for me. I've just got everything that's already happened is already a memory. It's already a memory. So who knows how you surmise that memory, the conclusion you made, in your mind, how you refer. Like sometimes people say to recall something that happened a while back. I said, what I can remember. How I would language it now could be very different to what I don't know. Who knows what actually happened at the time, because it's already a memory. It's already a memory. And I remember Tyler looking at me, she looked at me and she went, "Wow!" That's like having that transformational experience. It's like everything is a memory. How reliable is a memory? Because what you're dealing with, is human recollection and human. Kind of
and yours is different.
Go back to your thing about exactly
that.
To where your power is right now, and all I need to do is manage. Actually, it's a lot easier than trying to keep a hold of all these conclusions.
Because actually, when you make things simple,
the
stress disappears as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. So for me, the last 5 years, I think because these are BeColl years pretty much, or pre-BeColl to here, was something like, it's a bit of a cliche, I guess, but follow your bliss. The old Joseph Campbell line is really constantly reviewing, is this something that I love? Am I loving this? Am I loving this? And when it isn't loving this, then find something else. Or shift it, or
change the way you do it, or you do it with.
Like that's really, I've found that to be more and more and more and more important to me. It's like, am I loving these people right now? Am I angry with them? Right, what can I shift to make it something empowering, something valuable, something viable, something important, as opposed to just sitting in my opinion of.
And you see the link between what you're talking about, what Andrew was talking about, isn't it? Because it's all about living in the question.
And aligned to that in terms of BeCollaboration communities, I really feel in your energy and more in the collaborators. I kind of feel like they're owning it now. And it's not that I don't think we're out of the woods by any means. I think we've still got to do what we've got to do off the back of today. But like giving people the opportunity to show up in space and let them let it happen. Yeah, let it happen.
That's the situation.
Like, be there and not be there. Be there, not be there.
At the end of the Essex one last month, or this month, I should say. Well, it feels like last month. The next month already, last week is it was the first time, I obviously acknowledged it there in the room, but the first time that I seen you as a collaborator, which was so immensely powerful to the community to see you in that environment as well. I think, but it kind of felt like you was a collaborator in the room, rather than.
Well, I think people, we have a tendency to devolve our power to other people because they're at the front of the room, or they're the ones with the suit or the tie on, or they're the ones that's the official, or they're the teacher. And I know for me and Gill, we do not want to be that for this community. But someone's got to start it off. Someone's got to stand at the front of the room, and to be there, having your own experience, is really, really important, because I think if you're constantly got to be something for other people, you forget.
Well, I don't mean by just being collaborators and you just sat there and didn't do nothing, because there's loads.
We don't want any of the collaborators just doing nothing.
You contributed as a collaborator, I think, and which helped it go to another level within the room because of that.
Yeah, still have the freedom to contribute what you've got to contribute. So,
what about Gill?
Gill, 5 years.
What about your last 5 years?
Oh, I said it already.
She did.
Listening.
She did.
Nice try, Gill.
She did say. We'll have to rewind.
Yeah. But I think following on from what Dave was saying, it's being in the moment as well. and what I said before was right and wrong. I was just trying to remember the difference between right and wrong. But no, being in the moment is we were away. We went to see some friends on Saturday. And funny enough, to talk about choosing your family, we were talking about that, and I said, "Oh, my family's rubbish." Alan's mum and dad are dead, my mum and dad are dead. And
That's pretty rubbish.
But my friend went, "But we're your family." Now I've known her for 30 odd years. So on that sense, she is, and other friends of ours, we're related with godchildren and things, and their family. Another one of my friends says, "Oh, you're like my brother and my sister," and it's like we've chosen.
But I need to explain to Callum that day. He was 12 years old. That Uncle Daniel was not actually his uncle.
Yeah.
Just my best friend.
Yeah.
And so with me through rough and smooth, and it's like, I thought you were your uncle Daniel. He explained, no, he's not. He's not my brother or anything.
But then the family that you choose.
But don't you think we long for that as well? I'd say part of what we want to achieve within BeColl is a real sense of trusted community, and that I felt that's what I said at the last meeting. Is I feel like we're kind of like family. We don't have to agree. We don't have to like everything we all say, but we're all here as a family. We're all like the empathy. We used to say the empathy of the species. Actually, the biggest common denominator is we're all human beings, and yet we can find so many ways to divide ourselves and separate. Whether it's our thinking, our politics, our ethnicity, our culture, all those things. We've been well trained to divide, but what we haven't been as well trained in or well versed in is finding that common. And as we say in the culture, human being first. It's like find the best part of Andrew Horder and work with that. Anyone can find anyone can find the things that everybody else finds. He's this or he's that, and you can get agreement to that stuff. But actually, when you say, well, you know what I really like about Andrew Horder is this, and this, and that's what I'm going to look for, that genius or that humanity.
Just changing in a comparison to other groups that might be out there is that a lot of people in other groups will say like, oh, I've never really got on with him, or I didn't really like her, or she's a pain in the arse. In BeCollaboration, I think there's kind of you might not necessarily be best buddies with somebody, but you have a respect for their opinion and their thought process.
Well, it's a badge of honour. I've said it's almost like we don't want to go down that, another organisation of metal badges and all that.
No,
but it is. But
there is 300.
There is a trust equity in saying, "Oh, I'm part of BeCollaboration as well."
And going back to what, thank you. Going back to what Stuart was saying, by taking the value out of Barry's talk in Essex, it's seeing other people as individuals and able to take value from them, even if they're not necessarily somebody you would automatically get on with or go down the pub with or hang out with necessarily. But I always say I'm inspired by every single collaborator, because I'll find something about them that is like, I never thought of it that way. That's really interesting. They said that. And it's just something that, you might not necessarily be bosom buddies with someone or have that immediate attraction and like towards them, but when you're in a BeCollaboration environment, there'll be something that, well, you're here because you like this space and you're ready to create possibility, therefore I have respect for you because I'm looking to see your genius, I'm looking to help you to create that.
If someone turns up a meeting, whoever they are, there's something about you thinking, I'll go to that, so we must be aligned at some level.
Exactly.
To both be in the room at this point. 70%, there's a reason why we're both in the room at this point. We must be aligned at some level.
And I think that's really interesting, because where maybe you don't have that opportunity in other areas of life, to be able to be in a point where you can just take people on their humanity and then work from there. Before gender, before culture, before race, before profession, before age, and all those other things, you go on.
Before what they can do for you.
How they value it. And going back to the other thing about other. I don't think it's fair to say other networking groups. We're not a networking group. We're something different. But it's like just the forefront of a lot of those things is the profession. It's the if you like the role they're playing. And then what I find really kind of, and this is a bit probably more to one type of group, is we're only going to have one of you. So already that's divided. That's already divisive. That's also already operating that scarcity. It's not
a comparison, is it? Because we're not a networking group.
Which is we're not a networking group.
But they're business networking groups, and they do a really good job for the business businesses that are part of.
That works for their jobs,
and that's why we've got a lot of people in BeCollaboration who are in BeCollaboration for the collaboration and for the who they can be, and are part of whatever other business because it's. They go hand in hand, because if they're getting business over here and then they're coming here to develop personally, then what they take away, it's not just about a Thursday afternoon or a Friday afternoon or wherever, it'd be collaboration. All of that goes and makes you better in your business, and it makes you better in your family, it makes you better elsewhere.
Okay, we're nearly done for time, nearly. I just wondered if you're in like a sentence or something, do you want to sum up today what you got and maybe a message to our audience before we
sum up today? Scary.
For you, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yes, scary, but it's always scary getting together with you guys.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah,
in a good
that's
way.
all right.
Yeah, for me, it's. I think today's shifted where I'm seeing not only BeColl but me and the business. So it's it'll give me a new starting off point for this quarter moving forwards. A message for the people out there: watch this space. It's going to get fun.
There we go. Mr. Campbell.
Exciting, I'm going to use that word. Used a bit earlier. I think it's what today's brought for me is a bit of accountability and responsibility to living up to the intentions that I've set, which I've put out there in the public domain, if you like. So living up to it, but it's giving it some accountability and responsibility in terms of really living up to them intentions. And that for me is part of my journey, and BeColl's journey is exciting. I think it really is. I think I think it is a watch this space in terms of, if you've been you've either been a collaborator before, because there might be some people watching this that have been a collaborator, haven't been to a meeting for a long time. For you guys, I'd say get back to a room, and actually come back to an introduction, because introductions changed.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with someone the other day, the introductions
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
If you go back to one, 2 years ago or something, the introduction that I come in on is completely changed. So come to the introduction. It's still an adult decision, still an adult conversation, still a heart conversation. So come to introduction, get prepared to listen in a different way. Yeah. And you know what, if you haven't been in it 6 months, a year, whatever like that, or you've come and gone and flit out, you just need to be back in that space and just listen from a completely different, perspective. And for anyone that hasn't been yet, well, where the hell have you been? We're waiting for it. Got biscuits, we've got chocolates.
We're all coming to Essex now.
I think we're going to have to do chocolate biscuits.
Chocolates and biscuits. But I think it's somewhere you can come. It's not a hard sell, sort of pushing all that, and you can come and see what it's about and experience it for yourself. I think that's what it is. But we're committed to making you a better person when you leave the room. Simple as that.
Whether you want to or not.
Well, I said, you know what? I'm bullish about that now. That we had some guests at Essex last week. Whether they join or not is irrelevant. I know that they walked out of that room a better person.
Yeah. Even that one.
Even that. Just having that little engagement.
Yeah.
They might not know it then, they might not know it they might never be able to acknowledge it, but I know that they've left the room a better person.
Yeah, that's your commitment.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Dave? Cool.
Yeah, I think I was saying the same word as you was in my mind, excitement. It's been challenging, and I think that's the nature. We have fun, we get challenged, and we grow. So I think growth is the other thing. And I think in terms of a message for anybody who's watching this, well, this is we're out to create something different, and it's not just about the people in this room on this end of the camera, it's about everybody out there as well, and together creating something, and it's about the ripples that we take out into the world. So it's not just about what happens in a BeColl meeting, it's about what happens as a result of the people we then interact with. So there you go.
Can you top that?
Probably not. I'll have a go there. I think excitement is a great word, but I think today what we've experienced over the course of the whole day is a regeneration, and a real focus on the future and how we're going to grow the groups, and also how we're going to format what we're doing so that the genius slot is more edgy, so that we are more edgy, so that we are ready to give of ourselves to the community. And I think what I think is different if we're making a comparison to any other group out there is a lot of people go to groups in order to receive, where collaborators come to BeCollaboration in order to give. And they come to give first, and that's what makes it a unique space, because we have been spending a whole day today working out how we can give the most of us and who we are going to be. So I'm really excited about the future, because I think we are all going to grow as a result of what we're going to offer to our collaborators, because they're going to feed us as well.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Cool. We're not getting paid to be here today. You know.
No, we're not getting paid. I've got a check for you.
I would have cooked your lunch, but you didn't want my cooking. What can I say?
We've got you. The next session, we've got you doing a genius slot.
Yes.
So,
hello.
Got it down for you.
Genius slot. Okay. So for me, I mean, today is I kind of like the fact it was kind of a little bit loose, but we had an intention, and I mean, I think the agenda I set out for today for me was to kind of, I feel a sense of excitement, but mainly partnership, and like we are where we are committed to something bigger. We've learnt from the past, but we're not gonna, we can be informed by it, but we can be inspired by the future, and I think that's up to us.
Far away and shredded.
Far away and shredded. Put that through the shredder. Yeah. So I want to thank you, Andrew, for joining us today. I got a different cut of you today. I really like it. I like that Andrew Horder more than the one I met in the past. So that's good.
Interesting.
Scott, you know, your partnership goes. You know, you're the first one hitting the podcast, first return. You like a title, so we can have that.
We're just calling number one.
Number one. Yeah. And Dave, I mean, your energy and your sense of just, I don't know, I feel very grounded when I'm around you. And I can be me without having to worry about it. But it's like I get your grounding really offers something in the space. It's like, okay, now we're going to ground that, how we're going to make that, you know. And so your contribution being felt. Jill, anything for your last words?
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
I think you took a more complex of these.
We're too nice today. What's gone wrong?
So on that note, thanks for being out there, viewing what we're up to. If you want to come, if you're interested and curious about what goes on at BeCollaboration meeting, check out the website www.becollaboration.com, and you will meet one of our accomplices and us at the next meeting. So thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.